sun has come out. It's a breezy afternoon, and for 43 of the greatest drivers in the world in front of 200,000 fans, their afternoon begins by shaking hands with the President of the United States, who arrived just a few moments ago, with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Elliott Sadler, and the rest of the starting field.
$16 million in awards on the line, better than $1 million to the winner. And the drivers all looking toward the starter stand. The honorary starter for the 500, Whoopi Goldberg, has the green flag in hand. In a minute, she's going to set 200,000 voices yelling in the air as these 43 drivers set off on their once-a-year chance to win their sport's biggest prize, the Daytona 500. Pace car is off. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Elliott Sadler bring the field down for the start. The 46th Daytona 500 is green.
Okay, now don't forget, it takes about a lap and a half, 2 laps to get these cars fully up to speed.
And Elliott Sadler on the outside in the 38 car would love to beat Junior, get in front of that 8 car, because they're concerned if the 8 car gets in front, he's so fast, a lot of cars will not be able to pass him.
Now this track, don't forget, we've had a lot of rain here, so the track is green. There's not a lot of rubber, so these guys are gonna have to really feel the track out to see where these cars work the best. Yesterday, the Busch race, the high side was really good for some guys, so there's a little bit of feeling around right now to see how your car is going to react and where it's going to react the best.
First few laps, always very tense. The traffic close together. One driver makes a mistake, it can cause a big problem for a number. Earnhardt Jr. leads lap 1 by about a foot. Tony Stewart is behind him in the 20, pushing. The outside lane, it's Elliott Sadler in 38, pushed by Sterling Marlin in 40.
And you got to be careful right now. You do not want to be put in the middle. That's why these cars are running really close. You've got to watch in your mirror. You've got to put a block on, because if you get put in the middle, you're probably going to go backwards.
But somebody's going to try the middle. They're going to feel like, well, maybe I can use the middle to go forward. Tony Stewart moved up to try to see what would happen if he got out from behind the 8 car. Look how the 8 car shot away from him when those 2 cars, the 38 and 20, got side by side.
That's a pretty wide back there.
Inside lane starting to advance a bit. Stewart clears Elliott Sadler for second place. Now it's Jamie McMurray in the 42 up to the inside of Sadler for third.
And he's followed by Michael Waltrip in the 15 car, the winner of last year's Daytona 500.
The good thing about Sadler, he's got a really good drafting partner right now. Sterling Marlin knows how to draft as well as anybody on this racetrack. So if he can keep Sterling there, he may just push him right back to the front.
It is first to 40th, 2.5 seconds, covers the entire field.
Look at that, 194 miles per hour. Larry Fort was running.
On board, Kevin Harvick, running in 10th.
And right now is the best these cars are going to feel, because the tires will start wearing and these cars will start sliding more and more every lap.
McMurray clearing that outside lane of Elliott Sadler. Michael Waltrip pushes through. Now the first 4 cleared. This is a camera we have inside the helmet of Michael Waltrip. You see the visor crack just a little bit to keep from fogging up.
And this really gives you an idea of what the driver goes through and how violent that these cars are on this Daytona racetrack.
Checking the mirror to his left. Now looking ahead to the corner ahead of him. And Michael Waltrip running in 4th position.
Just doesn't look like that outside line's got it, Benny.
Not right now, he doesn't, but it might be because the 8 car is just simply so fast.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson in 48, racing Elliott Sadler now. That'll be for 5th place. Dale Earnhardt Jr. kind of got a gift for that pole position when Greg Biffle's team had to change the engine, Bill. He's making the most of it right now.
That's how good he is, Alan. He got the pole while it was in a different race. How about that?
Yeah.
Led the field to the green flag. Same car that they ran at the 4 restrictor plate races last year. Was a little tight in the twin 125s. Junior wasn't really pleased with it yesterday. They worked on it to try and make him happy today. Dave?
Bill, we showed Tony Stewart's last happy hour final practice crash yesterday in the pre-race show today. Tony team worked on that car a lot yesterday afternoon. I talked with crew chief Greg Zipadelli this morning. I said, well, did you get it to a field dressing state, or is it better than that? And he kind of laughed and said, it's better than that. It's not as perfect as we want it. Marty?
Dave, Michael Waltrip told us on countdown to green and reiterated to me before he got in the car, I will work with the 8 car. We will work together. Our #1 goal at DEI this year, work together better than we ever have. It starts today, but on the last lap, it's every man for himself.
Michael Waltrip has won the Daytona 500 in 2 of the last 3 years. He's running in 4th now. Starting to climb that hill back there. Is that Matt Kenseth?
Matt Kenseth, the 17 car, the 2003 Cup champion, has moved to the top of the racetrack, and he's finding some good grip up there.
Actually, Ben, he's been up there really since lap 1, so he was the first guy that went way up on that bank. I'm not sure he's going up there because he likes it up there, because maybe his car's tight and it won't turn. Marty, what are they saying about the 17 car?
He's been up in that top groove, Wally, since Thursday. They really haven't run the bottom groove that much, but Matt likes to run up there, especially in the early run. Wally, you can talk about this. He wants to save that right front tire. If you try to keep the car on the bottom and force it down to be on the bottom, it'll wear out that right front quicker.
You're right. It's easier on the right front tire if you're up high. These guys down on the bottom are tugging on the steering wheel. Oh, we got some smart guys in 6 car.
Trouble, turn number 3. And the caution flag is out.
Oh, hang on there, Mark. I don't think Mark could see anything there for a while. He's trying.
Oh, Johnny Benson
Still can't see, I don't think, out of that car.
Robbie Gordon bouncing off each other.
That car was just completely filled with smoke. Mark did a great job there, trying to keep it as straight as possible.
Mark Martin's 20th try.
I couldn't see nothing. I couldn't see. You did fine, did great, bud.
And how disappointing is that?
Watch a car up there on the high bank. You'll see a little bit of smoke here for a second, and then, boy, it just pours out. Watch everybody dive underneath. And he can't see anything.
Wow.
And I tell you what, looks like he made the 99 and 17, might have made some contact. Teammates of Mark Martin.
Yeah. Kevin Harvick, I'll bet he's got a windshield full of liquid right now.
So he'll be having to make a pit stop, probably.
Leaders come by the opening of pit road. First one is Kevin Harvick. He's going to jump in there.
And get his windshield cleaned.
Yeah, right, from 10th spot. Followed by some of the other cars farther back. You see Matt Kenseth, and the 17 is in. After the contact he had, getting squeezed in that little shuffle up. Dave?
And, of course, Kevin Harvick needing to come in and take care of that windshield. No report on exactly how bad it was, but it was going to be obviously covered. They'll work on him, get it cleaned off, and get him back out, change 4 tires at the same time. Bill?
Rusty Wallace still looking for his first win in the Daytona 500. This will be a 4-tire stop in fuel and the first test of how good 4 new tires are going to go up against old ones. Rusty stalled and he's on his way. You can't do that at Daytona.
Oh, tire loose. That's going to cost somebody.
Whoa, no, who's that? Derek Cope ran right over the cone.
And that's a new tire somebody was trying to put on the car. You can tell by the sticker that's still on it as it rolls around there. So, caution early in the Daytona 500 after Mark Martin's 20th try to win the race literally went up in smoke. It wasn't a pretty sight for Kevin Harvick, who was running behind Mark Martin when the thing let go. Wow. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. If you notice on the racetrack, Tony Stewart is in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is when they were coming to pit road for the green flag stops back at lap 29. And watch how Stewart got the lead.
Yeah, Stewart just got into the pit lane faster than Dale Jr. And like I said earlier, it's very hard to judge to slow your car down enough. You're really on the brakes, you're downshifting. And like BP said, you got to be at 55 right there.
Beginning right there to the next line, you got to be at 55 miles per hour. Junior not taking any chances. He knows he has a great race car.
So now Tony Stewart in front of Dale Jr. And Stewart is the race leader. There are a handful of cars in front of him on the racetrack in that outside lane, though. Those are all people on the tail end of the lead lap. The pace car came out and picked up the leader. Those cars were all a lap down at the time. The leaders peeled off the pit. These cars didn't. The leaders came off pit road behind them. They basically got 2.5 miles to make up on Tony Stewart. They are tail end of the lead lap.
This is when things get a little bit sticky.
Kind of dicey.
A little dicey.
There's your leader, Tony Stewart, with the bubble over him.
You got the leader coming, and you got these guys that really need a yellow, and they're going to do a lot of blocking to try to keep Tony Stewart back so they don't get put a lap down.
Got Elliott Sadler there in 38, Mike Skinner in 33, Johnny Sauter in 30, Ricky Craven in 32, Ricky Rudd in 21, and Bobby Labonte in 18. Those are all tail end of the lead lap, 2.5 miles behind the leader, Tony Stewart.
This is where you got to have patience, Benny. This is where guys lose their patience.
Speaking of patience, how about 3 wide for the leader?
And the 14 car was slow on that restart. Larry Foyt. Junior said, well, should I follow Tony? Okay, I guess I'll go up there 3 wide.
Don't want to be in the middle.
48 car Jimmy Johnson to the inside. He's racing for that lead as well. Lead cars all sandwiched up into lap traffic now.
These guys right in front of Tony Stewart and Dale Jr., they're really using the mirror, Benny. Because you got to block the move if you can. You don't want to get past and put a lap down.
Spencer caught in the center of the 7 car.
When you get a lap down, it just says, I can't win. You got to get that lap back. Got to be on the lead. As long as you're on the lead lap, you've always got a shot.
Ricky Rudd goes a lap down.
So you got Jimmy Johnson in the 48 in the inside lane, Tony Stewart in the 20 in the outside lane. They're racing for the lead in and among all of these cars trying to stay on the lead lap. And that's probably a spot Casey Mears in that 41 does not want to be in. On board Jimmy Johnson.
Looking back at Dale Earnhardt Jr. from Tony Stewart's car. Off the back bumper.
Larry Foyt's car has made it around to the pit lane. We do stay under the green flag.
Oh, look at the 97 car. Kurt Busch just drives down under Tony Stewart. What a move.
So Jimmy Johnson takes the lead. Kurt just can't follow him through and get up there in front of Stewart.
Well, he tried so hard.
Ooh, that's close contact there. Earnhardt Jr. and Stewart.
Yeah, Earnhardt Jr. That's what we call bump drafting. You kind of bump the guy ahead of you. You only want to do that in the straightaway, but it helps shove the car in front of you and gives you a little bit more speed.
So Jimmy Johnson chose the lane that moved in that big traffic jam. He jumped down to that inside lane and has gotten in front of Stewart for the lead, but maybe not for long.
Yes, Stewart got a big run getting off the back straightaway into turn 3.
Here goes Junior in the middle. Is he going to make it 3 wide? Casey Kane is slow on the back stretch.
20 car. Wow, that's a handful.
You saw Casey Kane, Ray Evernham's 9 car, off the pace.
And that looked a little sideways, but you know what, folks? That's big sideways when you're running 190 miles per hour. Matt, what happened with the 9 car?
Tommy Baldwin just asked Casey, is it running or is it coasting? He says it is coasting. They told him to try the backup ignition box to see if that might help the race car fire. Casey just said it's something big.
Yeah, it's big.
It is broken. It is smoking.
It's big, Matt. He's got big smoke coming out of the pipes.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. just pushing Tony Stewart down that backstretch. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 tried to mount another charge in that inside lane.
And Tony Stewart pulls up behind the rookie, Johnny Sauter. He said, rookie, look in the mirror. Oh, man.
Yikes. Johnny Sauter in that 30 car. Messina, Wisconsin native, driving for Richard Childress Racing.
And now we're on board Tony. Man, look at the run he's got on the straightaway. Boom! He'll hit the car of Ricky Craven. That's the bump draft. Helps push Ricky. But like I said, you got to be real careful. You don't want to do that too late getting into the corner either, because it gets you sideways when you get in the corner. You really need to be careful to be straight when you do that. When Sauter jumped out, he wasn't exactly straight, and he almost got turned sideways.
You know, think about doing that. Oh, got a smoker. Another one in the middle of the pack.
Looks like a right
Roush car.
Another Roush car, BP.
Oh, man.
That looks like a right front fender to me.
Could be. Could be. Maybe get some.
Pull it down some.
Maybe he had some contact with somebody.
Did he just say cool it down some? Is that what he said?
It's got like a kink in it. Right there at the
It's got
balance
some
and then up
contact.
on the tire.
Yeah, the right front fender is rubbing the tire. That's the smoke. He's going to have to go to pit road to get that fender knocked out off that tire.
He was running fourth.
Now, who's the other guy?
Yeah, who
He's
did he
got
hit?
that kind of damage. Somebody else has got some damage somewhere.
Well, let's find out. Who did the 97 hit? Watch Junior's car.
There you see down on the bottom, he gets right into the left rear tire, Dale Jr. Now, if it just hit the tire, Junior probably be okay.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the track and all that traffic. No comment on his radio after the contact with the 97. And part of the reason for that is he couldn't get a word in. His spotter, Stevie Reeves, on the radio the whole time, walking Earnhardt through traffic a lap ago. That's because in practice earlier this week, Earnhardt scolded his spotter, saying, stay with me the whole time. Reeves said he's never seen anybody that aggressive in practice or the race.
So it's Johnson, Earnhardt Jr., Stewart, the top three. Your guess from there on back, they're all right there in a big pack. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. New leader as we come back to the Daytona 500. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has just stuck the nose of the Budweiser Chevy underneath Jimmy Johnson's 48 car.
Hold on. There goes Jimmy back by. I think. Yeah, it's a pretty good contest right now.
Kurt Busch, 97 car, off pit road, nearly 3 laps down to the leaders. After repairs to the right front corner of his car, we showed you the hit with Earnhardt Jr. earlier.
I think Stewart wanted to stay up in that high line, probably to help his teammate, the 18 car, Bobby Labonte, to try to stay close to that front to get his lap back, but decided to go low.
Well, it's a choice of 8 or 18. I think I'll take the 8. My teammate just going to have to go on his own.
He's going to have to tough it out, right?
Bill, where deals being made down there?
Well, they're talking to look, Junior moving to the inside all over the track. 20 team and the 8 team, they've been running together. Junior moves to the outside. But what they want to do, Benny, is they want to make sure they're going to pit on the same lap. Last time, the 8 car was going to pit on lap 31, but when they found out the 20 was going to come a lap earlier, they came that time. They had told Junior, take 30 on the track, come in on 31. They just said, no, pit this time. They want to stay with the 20.
Here comes Bobby Labonte on the outside, Benny. He wants to get on that lead lap.
18 car, the first 1 lap down, and he's in 30th place.
See if the 18 gets in front of the 20. 20 decides to follow the 18 if it all sorts out.
Bobby Labonte not on the lead lap. Matt Kenseth right behind Labonte, and the 17 is. That is the 4th place car.
And Kurt Busch has moved up to the outside, hoping that Junior would go with him, but he goes by Elliott Sadler anyway.
Remember though, BP, that 97 has fresher tires than all these other cars he's racing with. That unscheduled pit stop a minute ago. How about Jimmy Johnson, Matt?
Jimmy says the car is just a tick on the tight side. Jimmy has never won a restrictor plate race. Chad Knaus has gone to victory lane here in the 500 as a crew member on Jeff Gordon's team. Last night while doing media in victory lane, when it was all said and done, Chad walked up on the winner's podium, stood there, and then wrote CK. He wanted to mark his spot, reserve it for later today. They feel like they've got a great car that can go to victory lane. Now it's just up to Jimmy. Marty?
Well, Mike, you see Matt Kenseth up in the front there, and you would never realize that they had some damage early on. They have tailpipe damage, which Robbie Reiser, the crew chief, believes is hurting the horsepower. They also have some body damage, hurting the aerodynamics, but Matt keeping the car up front. Bill?
And an outstanding run so far for Greg Biffle. Won the pole here a week ago today. Had to start at the rear of the field because an engine change. This morning he said he was confident but somewhat concerned with that new engine, but he's had a good run and done a good job getting it to the front. Burns.
And Weber, we're keeping our eye on these sets of tires that come off the cars. Kevin Harvick stayed out as long as anyone on that first run and pitted as the leader. I checked out all his tires, checked with the crew. Everything looks very good. Even that right front, the most sensitive of the tires. Matt?
Dave, the Gordon-Vickers combination made it up to 5th and 6th. Then Jeff said, my car is just a little more on the free side. Please ask Brian to give me a little bit of slack back there. He gave a little too much. ignition. He's dropped back to 9.
I'll tell you what, Jeff Gordon's been coming up through that pack.
You know, I'm thinking, watching he and Kevin Harvick, Wally and Benny, we're seeing a different kind of Daytona 500 than we have the last few years, and it's because of these new tires that NASCAR asked Goodyear to develop. If you're not familiar with the story, the tires in past years have been so durable and so good that you didn't need tires. You could basically run a set all day long and they wouldn't lose any speed. And it became where the first guy off pit road was going to be the guy that won the race. Drivers wanted that changed by NASCAR so that a car's handling and a driver's skill were once again more of a factor in deciding a race. Goodyear did that, and we're seeing the cars that handle better, like Harvick and Tony Stewart and these guys, able to drop back in the pack and then come back up and do a lot of passing.
I think the fans wanted it more than the drivers did.
Yeah. I agree. You're probably right. But these guys, the teams that can adapt to change is the best. They're still going to be the best teams. They're going to have the cars that are going to be the fastest. But I think when it's all said,
oh, trouble. Back straightaway. Rusty Wallace, Jeff Green, and more.
Easy, wave them off behind you. Back coming to the caution.
That's Ken Schrader.
Kenny Schrader. Oh, darn it. Schrader and Rusty in the 43 car. Man,
there's Jeff Green.
So Rusty will not win the Daytona 500 in 2004.
Rusty Wallace in his 22nd Daytona 500 try. He has scored 54 wins at NASCAR's top level. But this race, its biggest, has not been one of them.
Well, Kurt Busch is going to get one of his laps back. Elliott Sadler will come back around, be on the tail end of all those lead lap cars.
Labonte would be the lucky dog?
Yeah, Bobby Labonte hung on with Tony, became the lucky dog.
So let's see what happened here. Rusty Wallace just got squeezed in. The 42 car, Jamie McMurray, came up the racetrack right across the left front of Rusty Wallace, turned Rusty into the 43 car of Jeff Green, and collected Schrader.
Ooh, see Johnny Benson there come whistling by in the grass? That had to be a hairy ride.
That's one of those deals where, you know, most of the time, 2 out of 3 other cars are just at the wrong place at the wrong time. There's nowhere they could have gone.
See, McMurray just had no idea that Rusty was moving up on his outside, and Rusty had to avoid the 42 car. And
now watch these guys to the right here as Jeff Green spins, come whistling through the grass.
Yeah, running through the grass 180 is always exciting.
Oh, there's John Andretti just barely getting by. Here they come down pit road. Marty.
First stall on pit road for Matt Kenseth, BP. He said it's about as loose as I can stand it at the beginning of the run, but the track is getting slick. Leave it like it is. 4 tires, no changes, Dave.
Tony Stewart said, I'm loose at times, I'm tight at times. I'm having fun driving this thing. Don't change anything except change the tires and fill it full of fuel. Bill?
Just minimal damage on the 8 car from that contact with the 97. A little tight, half a round out. Waiting on the left rear. Junior's on his way to you, Matt.
Jimmy Johnson's car was tight. He's not going to beat the 20 off or the 8. They went 1 round in the left rear, 1 round out the right rear. A good stop by the 48 guys.
And a great stop by Matt Kenseth's team. Looks like they're going to pick him up 2 spots on pit road and get him out second.
So what else is new? Kenseth's crew picking up spots on pit road?
Let's check. We have a camera mounted at the line where they score the cars coming at pit exit. Tony Stewart. There's Matt Kenseth. And now watch this for third.
Ooh. Got to give it to Little E.
Oh, barely.
So Junior off third, Jeff Gordon off fourth. Caution for the 3rd time in the Daytona 500 after trouble on the back straightaway. Here's our crew cam. This is Brian Chase, the jackman from Michael Waltrip's machine. It's a busy time. Tony Stewart leading, Matt Kenseth second, the race for third. Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon there, 8 and 24. You mentioned that on that last caution, Sterling Marlin gave up 5th position. He came off pit road 5th, then went back in again for another pit stop, and it's dropped him back to 18th position. We'll try and get a follow-up report on what happens to the driver of the 40.
Looks like today that high line is struggling, Dave.
It's just not working at all. And Gordon finally squeezes down, gets to the inside, and leaves Tony, his teammate, Jimmy Johnson, the 48, hung on the outside. Matt, what about the 24?
Jeff Gordon's car was a little loose before that caution. He just could not run on that high side, and it was slowing him up. That's exactly what happened during this run. The car's still a little free. He needed to get to the bottom. That's where his car works the best. Unfortunately, he hung out his teammate, Jimmy Johnson, doing so.
Boy, he sure did, Matt.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that pack there. Michael Waltrip really hasn't been at the front of the field most of the day. That's very surprising to me.
Michael might be playing a waiting game because Slugger Lavey, Michael Waltrip, anyone you talk to with that car will tell you that they are fast. But you're right, he hasn't challenged for the lead, but that could be by design.
2 lap cars there in the middle of these lead cars trying to get through and keep up with the front 4. Take a look at the AOL top speed as we come to complete lap number 69 and start lap 70. Who's fastest? 24 car kind of tucked at the end of that lead draft. Jeff Gordon with the AOL top speed.
And that's a speed of an average all the way around the racetrack, not the speed as they cross the line.
Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car really wants to get by the 41 car piece here so he can get down in that bottom line and pick up the draft of those first 4 cars.
It's kind of complicated here for some of the people like Michael Waltrip and Kevin Harvick. You got 3 cars not on the lead lap right there at the head of these double wide lines. You got Casey Mears in the 41. You got Ricky Rudd in the 21 and Ricky Craven in the 32. They have every right to be there.
Yeah.
But these lead lap cars trying to keep up with those front 4, and they've got to deal with the traffic first.
Wow, who is that was pushing Ricky Rudd there? Is that Busch?
That's Kurt Busch.
Woo, he got to run. Got to run. 97 car. Kurt Busch really got to run. Push the 21 car right on by.
That 97 has shown to be fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
And what's at stake for him here? He's
trouble.
Contact on the backstretch. It's Michael Waltrip and now Brian Vickers. Robbie Gordon, 31. The time. Waltrip's over. 1, 2, 3 times for Michael Waltrip.
Well, there's the big one right there. Took a lot. There's a lot of good cars right there. Is that Sterling Marlin in there?
40 cars in it. That's Michael Waltrip's car upside down.
Terry Smith.
See movement there at the left side of the car as we look at it. Caution flag is out. The field has slowed, and the safety and rescue workers already there attending to Michael Waltrip's car and the others involved in this big crash down the back straightaway.
And this is why NASCAR slow these cars down on the caution flag, to let the rescue workers get there to attend to these drivers as quickly as possible.
They're so much faster right now than they used to.
Oh, man, it's unbelievable.
There's Brian Vickers out of his car. Jamie McMurray in the accident. Driver with the star in his uniform. Back left of the screen. He's out of his car. Pit road is open. Let's check on the pit stops. Marty?
Alan Matt Kenseth in second place. He said, I need to be a little bit tighter if I'm going to run up front here. I've out-wrecked 6 times that time. Half around down the track bar, Dave.
More good news for Tony Stewart's. No chassis changes this time. 4 fresh tires, plus the news that Michael's okay. Weber?
This should be routine. 4 tires for the 8 car, and fuel seemed to take a long time on the right front, Matt.
The 24 is in. It's going to be a 4-tire change for Jeff Gordon. His car has started to come to him. Jimmy Johnson also is complete. It's going to be close. He's not going to beat the 20 and the 8 off pit road.
I think Jeff Gordon got there first.
Yeah, good stop.
See the rest of the teams exiting pit road after their stops. And the work around the Michael Waltrip car to extricate him from that machine after it turned over at least 3 times down the backstretch. When the car slid off into the grass, I saw one of the tires leave the machine, and when that rim that was left on it dug into the grass, it just sent the car kind of cartwheeling over on its roof.
And when you're in a situation like that, you are just a passenger, especially when these cars start turning each other. Here you see, looks like Johnny Sauter slid up in the 30 car into Brian Vickers in the 25. A chain reaction.
Yes, that's Michael Tuckins. Yes.
And Biffle, the pole sitter, looks like he barely got through there.
So you see the tire come off of Michael's car, then it got into that grass softened by the rain, and it just dug in, just like we saw Ryan Newman's last year, and sent the car over.
There's Harvick, Kevin LePage, Johnny Benson,
Terry Labonte. You saw McMurray and Vickers.
Okay, here we go. This might be our best shot.
Watch the car on the bottom there. The blue and yellow car. Slides up right there. Just ever so little contact, which doesn't look like a lot. When you're running 185, 190 mile per hour, it's a lot.
There's the 15, and about right now he's going to dig in. There goes one of the tires that Alan talked about. Violent.
Very violent. Yeah, when you hit that grass, hang on.
And the 30 car, he comes up and just, it's like you said, Wally, another 6 inches, probably would have not been an accident.
And it looks like the 30 to me got a little bit loose down there. He got a little bit loose. He corrected, but when he corrected, he slid up the racetrack, and unfortunately there were 2 cars on the outside of him.
Let's go on board Michael Waltrip. And
That's us, guys. 25 got into us. That's us.
And that's inside Michael Waltrip's car.
And Michael's probably
he's getting
out of the car now.
Michael is crawling out of that thing.
Good. But you can see how close everything is in there, very confined. Plus, you got the roof on you. The dash is all crushed on you.
The people in the back can see that and listen to the huge applause that Michael gets as he gets out and waves to the crowd.
It's a good sign.
Take the stretcher and put it back. We don't need it.
So not the kind of day Michael Waltrip hoped for, certainly, in this Daytona 500. He was hoping to come away with his name inscribed on the Harley Earl Trophy for a 3rd time as a 500 winner. Instead, he's going to be on every 11 o'clock sportscast tonight with the spectacular flyer through the infield.
That's a roof cam, watching all these guys pick the debris up.
Trouble off turn 2 involves 12 cars and sends Michael Waltrip for a flying tumble. Caution flag is out in the 46 Daytona 500. Frightening, scary moment. Fortunately, Michael Waltrip out of his car, and it's just fine. Second place. Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, side by side instead of nose to tail like they've been all day. And here comes Greg Biffle. 3 wide in the 16.
Earnhardt Jr. stuck in the middle in the 8 car.
Jimmy Johnson for the lead on his teammate, Jeff Gordon.
And boy, they have completely split. Nobody's going to go up there and help, not at the moment. There goes Harvick, though.
Wide.
Looking up high side.
For the race lead.
3 abreast off 2. And I'll tell you what, Dave Blaney ran so well last Saturday in the Buzz Shootout. It continues today. Terrific run for that white 23 car.
It's right there.
And that's a team, Bill, that is...
That's squeezing it down there in front of the 8 car Dale Jr. Whoa.
Okay, I'll let you finish the thought of the 23, Bill.
Yeah, I was holding my breath there, but Alan, just 2 minor air pressure adjustments on that car all day. Felipe Lopez calling the shots for Bill Davis Racing. It's been a great day for Dave Blaney. And Benny, like you were talking about, he wants a little better finish today.
Yeah, he did not get it last Saturday night. And, you know, this is a team that this may be their last race.
That's where I was going, BP. This team is not scheduled to show up at the race in Rockingham, North Carolina next Sunday. The sponsorship that's on the side of their car here is for this Speed Weeks only. They don't have backing for the rest of the season. Not planning on going next week. I talked with crew chief Felipe Lopez this morning.
Biffle and Gordon side by side, and each one of these guys, I mean, they just want to get behind Jimmy Johnson and get in single file.
How about the 16 car. BP, Greg Biffle told you when we talked to him via the radio on the pace laps, he thought he had a good enough car to get from the back to the front.
That's what he told Bill and I this morning.
See Jimmy Johnson trying to give the 24 car, Jeff Gordon, some help. Gets up the high side, gives him some help drafting, but now he left the bottom open. And Greg Biffle is going to fill it.
And Biffle, he said as long as he has somebody behind him pushing him good, he'd be okay. And he's got one of the best right now in the 8.
Let's get more on Greg Biffle from pit lane.
Hey, Alan, Benny, remember how he found out that he was going to the back of the field? He was in the rain delay for the Busch race watching television, and a friend called him and said, hey, you're going to the back of the field. You're not going to start on the pole. He goes, that's impossible. He goes, so then he saw it during the rain coverage that he was going to start at the back of the field. That's a heck of a way to find it out, Dave.
When we started the show talking about how the damaged 20 car was repaired to make this field, but we didn't talk about how the slow 20 car became the fast 20 car. I talked to Greg Zipadelli later in the week about the change, the transformation they had made on this 20 car. Greg said, I went back to our library of notes. I read everything we'd ever done at any restrictor plate track, Talladega and Daytona, every year. And I studied, and we changed, and we came up with a solution. Guys, you just don't pick up time at Daytona like the 20 car picked up this week.
It's amazing the transformation that has taken place. Last Sunday in qualifying, I made this statement. Unless they pick up some speed, they will not win the Daytona 500. But in that 7 days of trial, they obviously found enough speed they can win the Daytona 500.
We heard from Michael Waltrip and Brian Vickers, Robbie Gordon, and Jamie McMurray involved in that last accident, also treated and released from the Infield Medical Center. You heard from Sterling Marlin, and you saw Ryan Newman drive their cars into the garage and getting them worked on there. 11 laps from halfway in the Daytona 500. Our Napa Field summary. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led the most laps today, though not in front now. Those who have led among the 6 drivers: Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Petty led some laps under that last caution. 4 yellow flags. The 5 retired from the race include Michael Waltrip's Napa machine, Brian Vickers, Casey Kane, Jeff Burton, and Mark Martin. The latter 3 all with early engine troubles and took them out of this Daytona 500. Tony Stewart's team, remember?
Oh, look at that. Sorry, dear.
That's okay.
Boy, that 48 car got a run, and
how is he going to get hung out?
I don't know. Ooh, little loose there with Biffle. Down on the bottom, his car got a little sideways on him. That's going to cost him a little bit.
He told me that his car is bottoming out the front cross member. Oh, some trouble there. Got in the left rear of the 48. He told me that his car is bottoming out down between 1 and 2, the front cross member. That's probably what happened to him there, Wally.
Well, I'll tell you what, he better not do that with somebody on his bumper, or he's going to be sideways, because if Dale Jr. was like that when his car bottomed out, that car will turn sideways.
Coming up on halfway in the Daytona 500. It's been a pretty exciting race so far. I feel safe in saying the best is yet to come. 68 laps to go in the 2004 running of the Daytona 500. Tony Stewart leading Dale Earnhardt Jr., Scott Wimmer, Kevin Harvick, and Greg Biffle. None of those drivers have ever won the Great American Race before. A couple things to update you on. Some drivers who were involved in earlier crashes have come back onto the track. Rusty Wallace, Scott Riggs, Derek Cope, Ryan Newman, and Sterling Marlin are all back in action, as is Jeff Green. Marlin, though, just been shown the black flag by NASCAR for not meeting the minimum speed requirement with his repaired car.
And when I saw his car come down pit road, I realized he was not going to meet the minimum. All he was trying to do was just get a few more laps.
What a day for Scott Wimmer, running third, Matt.
Scott Wimmer, a rookie, but driving like a veteran and thinking like a veteran. He's managing his race. Talking to crew chief Frank Stoddard, they're expecting to pit around lap 140. Frank said, what changes do you want? Scott said, I'm afraid to really mess with it. Let's not change anything. But he knows he has one more stop after the one at lap 140, just in case he does need to make an adjustment. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon and the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, they were both in the top 5 about 25 laps ago. They both were dropped out, kicked back. Gordon trying to work his way back to the front. Jimmy Johnson, he's working on a tight race car right now.
You know, as Matt said, it's one thing, too. When you come in, especially when you're a rookie, when you come in, you don't want to change too much on that race car because you don't want to lose the guys you came in with. You don't want to take any more extra time in the pits just in case something goes wrong. You lose that group.
second group headed by Greg Biffle, falling a little bit behind the front three. A couple of seconds now, the front four, excuse me.
30 car of Johnny Sauter, one of the running wounded around here, trying to just stay out there and make some laps for some Nextel Cup points.
Just kind of doing up some numbers here and thinking about pit stops. We're going to start to see some more green flag pit stops fairly soon for some of these drivers, as Jeff Gordon puts a move on Greg Biffle for 5th place. And Dave Blaney in the 23 tries to go with him.
I think Biffle's just happened to get out of the gas up there.
Yeah, he is. He's really been struggling that 16 car.
Really tight to 16 now, really tight.
And something that might be contributing to that is the wind. We talked about that, but the wind blowing pretty much directly down the backstretch into turn 3. So when they make that left turn, it's kind of a tailwind, knocking the back end of the car around the wheel.
Which just magnifies the problem if you're pushing.
Expecting the leaders potentially this lap.
All right, we've raced 136 laps. They can make on one more stop.
You want to get these guys out of the way. You certainly don't want. Looks like the 50 was waving.
So Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the lap car of Kurt Busch, all hugging that inside line. They're coming to pit road. Scott Wimmer hard on the brakes. Oh, Johnny Sauter! Rifling right through the leaders and blowing the pit road entry big time. Greg Biffle also in. Close call for these leaders.
Oh, man, was that close. Dave.
And trust me, that's frightening from where I stand down here behind a hopefully protective wall. 4 tires for Stewart, no changes, full of fuel. They didn't want to change anything. Certainly didn't want to make it any looser, Tony said. Weber?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. said his car is the best it's been when he's in traffic, but they want to still try and get him out front. Major chassis adjustment, Matt.
They were concerned about possible damage to that right front fender. It was fine. A 4-tire change. He's not going to beat out the 20. They made a half-a-pound air pressure adjustment out of that right rear.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., though, kind of separated there. See Stewart, then Kurt Busch, the lap car, then Wimmer, and then a gap. Back to Dale Jr. Here's Jeff Gordon on pit road, Dave Blaney, Kevin Harvick, Joe Nemechek now among the lead group. In the Army car. And now Johnny Sauter coming in to serve a penalty for that little blast through pit road a minute ago. Dave.
Kevin Harvick brings the 29 in. They didn't get all the tape off the nose they wanted to last time. He was running hot, but not too hot. They'll take some more off this time. 4-tire change, no chassis adjustments. Matt?
On the previous lap, Jeff Gordon, Keatis Mikan said the 8 is pitting. The 8 is pitting. What do we want to do? Robbie Loomis said stay out for a few more laps. A 4-tire change. Again, Bill, no adjustments for Jeff Gordon.
The 23 of Dave Blaney drag races the 0-1 off of pit road. Cars just a little bit tight all around. Fuel, 4 tires. He's off of pit road.
John Andretti, Ward Burton, Brendan Gaughan, and Kyle Petty also pitting on this lap. Now here come Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, and Elliott Sadler, all lead lap cars. Marty?
Not a good sequence for the 17 team. He was supposed to pit with Jeff Gordon. Jeff tricked him, so Matt had to stay out on the track, killed all of his momentum. Then he overshot his stall, had to be pushed back. 4 tires and a track bar adjustment for the 17, Dave.
Elliott Sadler radioed in. The car's going aero-tight. It feels like there's a shock broken or something. Big chassis adjustment for Elliott. Matt?
Big chassis adjustments also for Jimmy Johnson up on the track bar. Also a wedge adjustment. His car still very tight. You can see donuts down the side. Looks more like it's been run in Martinsville.
Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Casey Mears, Ricky Rudd also leaving the pit lane, having just come on for service with that group of cars. Look at the gap from Scott Wimmer back to Dale Jr. as a result of that pit exchange.
And there goes Junior and Biffle by the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Gordon is going to be able to hook onto these two. Now, these 3 cars might be able to chase down Jimmy Johnson in that group. I mean, I'm talking Tony Stewart and that group.
So the lead is going to go back to Tony Stewart here as these pit stops cycle around. Kyle Petty has just come in to serve a penalty. Dave?
Well, now I don't know what happened. He came in the pit stall, then he went right back out on Kyle Petty. His car's been good all day, guys. My notes all the way down the list reads no changes to the chassis all day long, and apparently there'll be a penalty because he took that catch can with him.
Yeah, he had pitted on the previous lap and apparently took some equipment out of the box, and that's a penalty. So Kyle has just come in and served it, and that's going to hurt.
A stop and go is a huge penalty when you have to come in at 55 miles per hour, stop, and then take off again, and still stay 55 miles per hour.
So through a round of green flag pit stops for the lead lap cars, it spread the front pack out a little bit, but as we saw last time this happened, that second group was able to draft up and catch the first and make it about a 10-11 car race for the lead once again.
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason because of that the last time, though, is because Biffle could not stay tight in line because he was trying to cool that car off. But we'll see what happens with the second group. It's got maybe some more cars in it.
Bill?
Part of the problem with Greg Biffle, he had an equalized left front tire and didn't know it.
Oh, man. Let's see. Junior, the last time by, was about 0.3 of a second faster than his 3 cars in front. So it looks like that Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8, the 16 of Biffle, and the 24 of Gordon will be able to chase them down.
Another penalty on that round of pit stops. Ward Burton held for a missing lug nut. So costly error there. It's dropped him back to 19th place. Well, Jeff Gordon in a bid for a third Daytona 500 win, a 97 and 99 winner of this race, trying to push Greg Biffle and Dale Earnhardt Jr. back up to the lead few. Tony Stewart in search of his first Daytona 500 win. Another round of pit stops, and who knows what kind of a finish we'll see. Daytona's known for its late race twists. Back at Daytona International Speedway, here come the leaders to pit road. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to pull a reverse on Tony Stewart and outbrake him to the pit lane. Greg Biffle, Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, Scott Wimmer in. These stops coming in the final laps of the Daytona 500. Dave?
Tony Stewart's car is just a hair loose. He asked for just a little bit more air pressure in the right front to tighten up that car. Bill?
Tony Eury Jr. told his crew on the radio it's showtime. It's 4 tires and fuel for the 8 that come around to the left side. Matt?
Jeff Gordon trying to win his third Daytona 500. They put a half a pound of air pressure back in that they took out in the last stop. The 22 car is going to beat the 24 off pit road, as does the 20 and the 8.
2 tires on the 22 car, Matt. Get you to confirm that for us, but I'm pretty sure I saw Scott Wimmer lead with just 2 tires.
2 tires on the 22 car, no adjustments.
All right, so Frankie Stoddard, Scott Wimmer's crew chief, going to roll the dice on the tire strategy.
But he has no one to work with him. He's by himself.
And when these guys get to MVP, they're going to say bye-bye.
Just blow by him. Here comes the second group of cars then.
Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Joe Nemechek. All from that second lead pack down the pit lane. Marty?
Joe Nemechek's had a great run in a car that's very good, pitting with Kevin Harvick. It'll be a 4-tire stop for the 01. Dave?
4-tire stop for Kevin Harvick. No chassis changes. Car is not running hot. They need to get the left side on quick. Matt?
And the 48 is in. Remember, that slow pit stop cost them last time. He is now down and away. He will be going out with the 29 and the 01.
And Greg Biffle's chance to win the Daytona 500 is gone. He's on pit road to serve a penalty for speeding coming in for his pit stop last time by. Unless the caution comes out and allows him to catch up to the pack. Sorry, Greg.
Yep.
Have to wait till next year.
And we saw when he made his entry on the pit road, all the ground that he made up, you knew that he was too fast, and the NASCAR officials did not let it pass.
So Scott Wimmer's team takes just 2 tires. He's well clear of these 2, Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
But when they get to him, they're going to be going fast.
Wimmer now the leader with 29 laps to go. Here's
Frankie Stoddard watches him go by. Here's the cars coming on the pit road just a moment ago. There we see Junior tries his best to get in front of Tony Stewart. Can't go out and make it. But look at Biffle up there. He just passes all these cars as he enters pit road. Look at the ground he made up. And that's obviously speeding.
Yeah, the wheels locked up.
No kidding.
Yep. So the pass-through penalty for Greg Biffle has dropped him down to 14th place, 27 seconds behind leader Scott Wimmer. Now these two drivers, Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr., are second and third, 2.6 seconds behind Scott Wimmer. Problem for Wimmer is he's out there all by himself. There he goes, and here come these two cars with the lap car of Kurt Busch all tucked up in the draft.
Guys are about a half a second to 3/4 of a second a lap faster than Scott Wimmer, who's sitting out there by himself. So he's really a sitting duck.
And Frankie Starter, the crew chief on this 22, that's exactly that shot we saw. He was saying, man, why did I do that?
I'm a sitting duck.
Why didn't I change 2 tires and get with these guys?
We showed you earlier our Home Depot virtual garage how the cars tucked tightly together in the draft here at Daytona basically break the air more efficiently than the one car running by itself and are faster. And there's the gap from Wimmer to Tony Stewart, and you can watch the intervals shrink in our real-time telemetry.
And another thing Scott's going to have to worry about is that car's handling is not going to be as good with 2 tires on it. So he's going to have to use a lot more racetrack than the 3 cars that are behind him right now.
If Scott Wimmer, the 22, had just another car do the same strategy and get hooked up together, it's great strategy. But by yourself, no good. Dave?
And BP, that's what happened to Jeremy Mayfield on Thursday's 125-mile qualifier. They had made deals with other guys to take only 2 tires, but then everyone bagged him. And as we saw on Thursday, everyone closed in on Jeremy, and then they passed him. They blew right by him. Same thing potentially for Scott Wimmer here.
Another guy that's out there all by himself is Jeff Gordon. Scott Wimmer now down to just 0.8 of a second his lead. Matt?
We've talked a lot about gambling. Frank Stoddard, 2 tires. Very gutsy call.
Well, I mean, it was a pretty easy call. You know, we were at the back of that line right there. You know, we're just here to get a top 10 finish. I'd like to win the Daytona 500. I wasn't going to win the Daytona 500. The team wasn't going to win it. Caterpillar wasn't going to win it by putting on 4 because, you know, even if we had a great pit stop, chances are that we weren't going to beat both of them out. That was our chance to try to win it. They got a heck of a draft on us. We're probably going to be in a little bit of trouble. But it's been a heck of a showing all day. Scott's done a great job. The team's done a great job. And, you know, hey, well, you never know. Maybe we'll hold them off.
Okay, go on back up.
BP, we talked about it earlier. 3 cars is faster than 1.
Oh, yeah. And Scott Wimmer was by himself. These 3 cars hooked up. And now, can he stay in front? Frankie said maybe we can stay in front of him. He has shown some speed, but with 2 tires, I doubt it.
I don't think so either, Benny. Maybe it'll stay a little while, but
He was bobbing and weaving for all he could, trying to put the block on Tony Stewart.
Eventually, he'll be sliding up the racetrack. He'll leave that bottom open, and those guys will drive underneath him.
Maybe right now.
Right now? Okay.
Wimmer up the hill off turn number 2. Here comes Tony Stewart for the lead. Wimmer to block. But I don't think it's going to work.
Looks just like Wally World, doesn't it?
Yeah. Didn't we do this once before?
So Tony Stewart reclaims the lead in the Daytona 500.
I'll tell you what, the key to this whole deal right now is that 97 car. Who he goes with. Bill, what are they saying about the 8? I think the 8 needs some help, doesn't he?
He's in pretty good shape right now. He just wants the laps counted down. Wally, you know, after the twins on Thursday, Tony Eury Sr. was very disappointed that Michael Waltrip didn't work with him and made a comment to that effect after the race. Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. went to the media center and was immediately asked about the comment. Only he thought Tony Eury Jr. made it. So he stormed out of the media center, went back to the garage, and got in a confrontation with Tony Eury Jr. What are you saying? What are you saying? Well, Dad just stood in the corner and watched and laughed. Junior was apologizing for something he didn't even do until Dad walked in and said, it was me that made the comment.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know who the most popular spotter up there is right now?
Kurt Busch.
Yeah.
Our Budweiser aerial coverage of this Daytona 500. Looking down on the drivers who will decide the win among them. Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Scott Wimmer hanging on to the lead draft. But the man in the 3rd running car in line, Kurt Busch, who is 1 lap down, been with these leaders for a long time now.
And the spot that you're talking about is Jeremy Brickhouse, the nephew of Richard Brickhouse, who won the first race at Talladega.
Wow.
Will he be able to push Dale Jr. by Tony Stewart for the win? Wow. Will he be able to, and will he?
That's right. I guarantee you, the spotters will all have a little meeting. One will have a Home Depot jacket on. One will have a Budweiser jacket, and then there'll be the Sharpie jacket, and they'll all be in huddle.
Spotters, of course, positioned high atop the grandstand, atop the towers here at Daytona to look and help their driver around the racetrack, spot trouble ahead, communicate back and forth with the driver. You are looking at Kurt Busch's spotter. Let's make a deal in progress. That's Dale Jr.'s spotter there, Stevie Reeves. It's talking with Brickhouse.
So they're already together. Yeah, it wasn't going to take long.
Hey, guys, I'm with Jimmy Fennig down here on the pit box. You appear to be the key to this whole thing. Any great deals yet? Do you know who you're going to go with?
Well, the 8-car wanted to come and ask for some help, but we also got to remember he's the one who caused us 2 laps down. So I know it's Kurt's job out there. He's driving that car. We're not.
Drivers and teams never forget, do they, Weber?
Jimmy Fennig said you just paid him a visit. Well, what were you talking about with Jimmy Fennig, Tony?
We just told a few jokes.
A few jokes? Did you ask for a little help?
I just went down and had a conversation with him, see how they felt about the end of this race. So we'll see what happens at the end.
Okay. He's smiling now, but he wasn't when he came back from the 97.
I did not, Bill.
Well, we're down to it. The final 50 miles of the Daytona 500. Now, stops have been made. No fuel necessary to make the finish.
You know, one thing we were talking about earlier about, well, you know, it's popular to push Junior across, but I'll tell you what, you still got to face your crew guys. And if you're in the 97 and go, man, that's a guy that put us 2 laps down. That Kurt's in a tough position right now.
We're seeing the top 3 plus the lap car of Kurt Busch. Now look at the gap back to Jeff Gordon and the amount of time he lost in that last exchange.
As a matter of fact, Jeff Gordon has fallen back all the way to this next group of Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson. Matt?
About 10 laps ago, Benny, Jeff Gordon came on the radio and says, I have to know who is coming, who is leading that pack, so I can be ready to block. Because that big pack will blow by me in a second, but I'm not careful. He was hoping Skinner would jump in front and act kind of like a blocker to help push him. Kevin Harvick and his teammate Jimmy Johnson are in that pack, so they're going to try to hook up as they're making the pass to the lead.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. going for the lead of the Daytona 500.
We'll see who
Stewart not wanting to give it up.
97, who's he going with?
Going to go with Stewart.
22, and he's going with Stewart.
I had to think he would.
Junior could not quite make it. He's still trying. Here he goes
look
again.
At this. Another run to the inside of Stewart, and he might have him this time.
A great run going to turn 3. He's got it.
Good job. You're clear.
New leader of the 500 is Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Wow. And the fans are going nuts in Daytona. You know, someone told me a couple of days ago, if this kid in the 8-car wins a Daytona 500, we might not be safe in this tower, Wally. These fans will go ballistic.
I think they'll rock the stands, huh?
They will rock the stands in Daytona.
Okay, so now who's spotter's trying to make a deal with Kurt Busch's?
Well, now we know pretty much what's going to happen.
Dave?
They told Tony Stewart right before that Kurt swears he's going to go with you. Now, that was one opportunity, but I see at least another opportunity, guys, coming up where Kurt still has a chance to help the 20 a lot.
Yes, you are right, Dave.
Well, he tried, but Junior was just enough to get around him. And a change for 4th place, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson. And now Joe Nemechek trying to draft by Jeff Gordon.
Nemechek's going to get by. Is that Elliott Sadler behind Nemechek as well?
And up front, Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a little gap between himself and Tony Stewart. Earnhardt Jr. in his 5th Daytona 500. He's had a good deal of success at this track's sister speedway in Talladega, Alabama, winning 4 of the last 5 races there. But he's had troubles in this race. 13th, 2nd, then 29th and 36th. His last 2 500 finishes.
I bet Junior's car, if it was still a little bit loose, he's loving it now, because as you run and put more laps on these tires, the car starts to tighten up and may get it just perfect near the end.
Junior's got to be looking in the mirror a lot right now. Got to anticipate whatever move he thinks 20's going to make, because the 20 is going to make a move. And he pretty much knows the 97 is going to go with him now.
That die has been cast.
Yes. Yeah. It'd just be interesting to see how long Tony waits, because I don't think he can wait till the last 2 or 3 laps.
Oh, I don't think so either.
You're going to have to do
agree,
it.
Yeah. If he's not under him coming to the white flag, it's going to be awfully hard to finish a pass in a lap. As evenly matched as these two cars have been all day.
And we watched Happy Hour yesterday, and we watched Dale Earnhardt Jr. in this 8-car practice lap after lap, and we said he must not be happy. I talked to Tony Eury Sr. this morning, and why did you practice so much? Because the driver was not happy with the car. They finally put the car back chassis-wise like they raced it last year in the Daytona 500.
And Junior said earlier in the show that every time you go out, it's different anyway. So I think they were trying to get as much information as they could to make the right adjustments.
Tony Stewart has led nearly half of this Daytona 500, 97 laps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just told the next 2 cars in front of you to get us the bottom. That's what I was doing, sorry.
See, and Stevie Reeves told us that he's not accustomed, told Bill and I, he's just not accustomed to someone like Junior on the radio.
Junior wants to hear more.
And he's so aggressive, you're right. He wants help all the time.
Yeah. 14 laps to go.
So Stevie didn't say anything down the backstretch, and Junior said, come on, Spotter, tell me something.
Yeah.
And let me say, this is the first race that Stevie Reeves has spotted for the 8-car. Last year, the job was done by Ty Norris.
Looking. And you see the 97 is going to go. But Tony Stewart has got to be closer to the 8-car for him to make that move.
Well, don't you think, too, the 97's got to be closer to the 20 for him to help Tony.
Yeah, but if all three of these guys have to get in a different spot than the 8 is, but the 8 is so far in front, he can just weave. So if the 20 gets a fender on the 8-car and the other 2 cars line up, they will get, they should get by the 8-car, but right now they can't get close enough to Dale Jr.
You know, we criticized Frankie Stoddard for changing 2 tires, but if he can hang on for another 13 laps, that was the right move, because Scott Wimmer has a solid 3rd place finish in the Daytona 500.
He's 8 seconds ahead of 4th place Kevin Harvick. Whoa, another bob and weave by Stewart.
See, like I said, Tony's not close enough. He's got to get a little bit closer to Dale Jr. to do that.
So what's he trying to do with all that move? Just get Earnhardt Jr. to react and maybe unsettle his car with a quick correction?
Not so much to react and unsettle the car, but to try to break the draft is all they're trying to do. And if he can move up and the 97 move up with him and Earnhardt move down, he'll gain that little bit on the racetrack. Dave.
And as they look again to the outside, we believe the 97 can help the 20, right?
Yeah.
Well, Kurt's got this problem. The 22 wants him out of there because he knows he's a lap down. They just radioed that to Kurt, Matt.
That's exactly right, Dave. In fact, Frank Stoddard just told Wimmer, he said the 97 is telling us they're going to pull out of the way with 3 laps to go. We're hoping that maybe he'll pull out sooner so we can get you up closer.
Well, a great run that Tony got off turn 2 as Junior passed that lap car, but it wasn't quite enough.
Go ahead, Bill.
Why does Dale Earnhardt Jr. like restrictor plate racing when a lot of drivers say it's not their favorite type of racing? Because it makes you think, and he's thinking pretty hard right now.
Well, the thing is, if the 97 car, Kurt Busch, pulls out and Wimmer passes him, those 2 front cars are going to be far enough ahead where I don't think Wimmer can even make an attack.
If I tend to go next time, and all 3 of them in front of you, I've told.
Stewart is going to need help.
The Dale Earnhardt Incorporated team so dominant at Daytona and Talladega, where the restricted engine package is used. You saw the graphic. Michael Waltrip, winner of this Daytona 500 2 of the last 3 years. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. has yet to win the sport's biggest race. It took his father 20 years to win it. Despite being this track's most victorious driver, Dale Earnhardt claimed 34 Daytona victories in his career.
But Junior's car looks good, though. Looks very strong. They can't get to the rear bumper. So they're going to have to come up on some slower cars here.
Well, that was what you just heard Earnhardt Jr. and his spotter Stevie Reeves talking about. Stevie has his job is to go talk to the spotters of those cars, make sure they know the leaders coming up behind them, and which lane the leader would prefer to have. They don't have to give it to him, but obviously they are giving Junior the bottom now like he wanted to have. Dave?
Kurt Busch radioed in. One more try for you, Tony. That's all I've got for you. Matt?
Scott Wimmer was starting to fade a little bit from the 97. He asked Frank Stoddard, tell Busch not to pull out yet. I need to kind of gain back up a little bit of the ground that I lost. They're also thinking about the bigger picture. Momentum coming out of Daytona.
9 laps to go. And now those other two drivers, Kurt Busch and Scott Wimmer, fading off Tony Stewart's back bumper. That's not good news for fans of the orange car. Because unless the handling bobbles on that 8 car, one car by itself, the 20, is just not going to be able to pull around and pass him here at Daytona.
I don't think so. Not Dale Earnhardt Jr. Bill.
Yeah, you guys are just talking about the past history here at this track. Tony looking the outside, Junior wants the inside. It was 56 years ago today on Daytona's famous beach course that NASCAR ran its first sanctioned race. Also on February 15th, David Pearson won the 500. That was in 76. The King won it on February 15th in 81. And Bill Elliott won from the pole in 1987. But Alan, as you were talking about, many fans will tell you the greatest moment in NASCAR racing came more recently than that. When the late Dale Earnhardt Sr. won his first and only Daytona 500 6 years ago today, February 15th, 1998.
And if you had the privilege of being here at Daytona that day, you'll never forget it. You saw what winning the Daytona 500 meant and the emotion that Dale Earnhardt showed in victory lane. It was like many had never seen him before.
I think Stewart laid back.
He laid back to get Kurt Busch, to try to get a push by Junior. He knew he couldn't do it by himself. He tried to find someone to help him.
And that's the smartest thing he could do.
Exactly.
If he just lays back and lets Kurt know he's going to lay back, they'll get a heck of a run.
A lot of drivers call this drafting thing a high-speed game of chess. Strategy, moves, knowing which moves to make and when.
And that's why Earnhardt Jr. keep asking Stevie for that information, because if he sees the 20 laying back, he needs to lay back a little bit.
And his dad, Dale Earnhardt, was the greatest of that. He saw a car backing up, he would back up to them so they couldn't get that run. Junior might be doing the same thing.
Tony Stewart so optimistic all week long. After some early Speed Week troubles, they got that 20 car handling dialed in on Thursday when they ran the qualifying races here that set the starting order for the 500. And since then, he's been very bubbly. Got into the final practice crash yesterday. Turned his week on a downside, but right from the start of this race, that 20 car has been fast. It got up in the early laps, drafted with Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the front. And these two drivers have dominated most of this race.
And Busch lit up the racetrack there.
Got to run. You're all clear.
Bob and a weave.
See, that was a spotter on the backstretch that gave him that signal. Because Stevie Reeves from the front stretch really can't see that well coming off turn 2.
Five to go when they come to the start-finish line.
That's frustrating for the guys behind Junior, and Junior's, he's so antsy right now. He wants this thing to be over.
The 97's kind of dropped back, so watch for him hanging back.
And Tony's like, come on, he's waving. Let's go, come on, let's go. We need some help. What's he saying, Dave?
Well, I can't confirm that strategy that you'd mentioned about falling back, but I can confirm that Tony on his own was doing everything that he could. He radioed in, he said, guys, that is all I've got. I'm giving all I can. That was when he was running alone.
It's got to be frustrating for Stewart to track that 8-car lap after lap, hoping it bobbles, and so far,
yeah,
he just can't see it.
Junior's not going to bobble. I mean, he just needs, what he has to have is help, and he doesn't have those guys close enough to do it. And Junior, on the other hand, he's going, yeah, get that 97 out of that pack. He wants to see that car as far back from the 20 as possible, Tony Stewart, because he knows that 97 of Kurt Busch is not on the tail of Tony Stewart. Tony can't do anything with him.
The teams have done all they can for their driver now, barring a caution flag, and even if a caution caution flag. These guys aren't coming to pit road. It's all up to the man behind the wheel. There are the Urys. Tony Eury Sr. on the left, Tony Eury Jr. on the right. Tony Eury Sr. working with Dale Earnhardt for so many years. And there's Joe Gibbs watching his driver, Tony Stewart, try to earn the Joe Gibbs Racing Organization a second Daytona 500 trophy.
When Dale Earnhardt's children
back to him a little bit.
wanted to go racing, that was Dale Jr., Kerry, and Kelly, the daughter. He turned them over to Tony Eury Sr. I said, okay, here you go. Here's my kids. Take them racing. See which one has some talent. And obviously, he has proven, Dale Jr. has proven to have some great talent.
Kurt Busch, Scott Wimmer, and the lap car of Kyle Petty.
And that's not saying that Kerry doesn't have talent as well.
Junior has certainly demonstrated himself to be a top-notch driver.
Yes, he has.
And he's trying to win NASCAR racing's biggest prize, the Daytona 500. He'll be 5 miles away when he comes to the start-finish line this time. Afternoon sun beginning to cast long shadows over the Daytona International Speedway. And now just 2 laps remaining in this race.
Stewart just can't get to him. Kurt Busch dropped back about 3 or 4 car lengths there. No help to the 20 car of Tony Stewart.
But remember, we think back to what happened to Bill Elliott at Homestead.
Dale Earnhardt Sr. here.
And his father in 1990 with on the last lap about right
there.
here.
Good on fuel, Junior.
Cut a tire.
You're perfect. Not a problem at all. We've been stopping short for him all day.
And lost the race.
He asked me about fuel. And Tony Eury said, you're perfect. We've been stopping early because Tony Stewart had a problem with fuel.
Fans come to their feet as Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart take the white flag. We're in the final lap of the Daytona 500. Jr. took the lead from Tony Stewart with 19 laps to go after he trailed Stewart's orange Chevrolet for much of the central part of the race. Now he's got to hang on for 3/4 of a lap to earn a victory in the sport's biggest event. Stewart not close enough to make a move yet. It's all going to come down to whether Earnhardt has a bobble or a problem in this final third of a lap.
Yeah, you can't get emotional yet because you've got to get off turn 4 and back to the start-finish line.
You can see it now.
The legacy continues. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the 46th Daytona 500.
Great run for Wimmer, too. Fantastic.
Tony Stewart second, Scott Wimmer third, Kevin Harvick fourth, and Jimmy Johnson fifth. For Dale Earnhardt Jr., his first victory in the 500 in his 5th try.
There are some happy people. But none no happier than him.
Oh, that's right. You can't overstate the months of preparation that go into running this one race. These teams take these cars to the wind tunnel, various engineering rigs like chassis dynamometers and 7-post rigs to test them, get them all dialed together for this one shot at getting their names inscribed on the Harley Earl Trophy. And it's Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s who will be inscribed as the 2004 winner. Matt?
A hug from Danny Earnhardt. Tony Eury Sr., it's the Daytona 500. This track is so meaningful for you and the Earnhardts. What does this mean to win it finally?
Phew. I know what Big E went through all them years trying to win this race. Phew. We just won the Super Bowl of this NASCAR racing, and you don't believe how hard we worked to get here. We got to thank John Andretti, Slugger, Michael Walter, everybody. It's great.
Tony, he is like your other son. This has to be special for you to help him win this dream.
Yeah. These 2 kids I got here, Dale Jr. and Tony Jr., they both worked their guts out for this race team. We worked 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for the last month and a half to get here. Trying to build a car better than this car. We didn't think this car was going to be good enough to win this year. We just couldn't do it, so we rubbed on this one the week before we came. worked the body shop to death and the fab shop to death, and Dwayne, Mickey, and AJ, and Bruce, and everybody else there, and so they did it, man. You guys back home, we did it.
All right, Junior, stop right there and acknowledge these fans.
He's got something up his sleeve, I think.
Just get out and acknowledge these fans. They love you.
Here he comes.
Here he comes. Get out of the way from Tigers. Let me in there.
You want to know what winning this race means to someone? Have a look. He said when we interviewed him earlier at the start of the broadcast day, a little afternoon Eastern, said, if I win this race tonight, I don't know when the party's going to stop. Well, it sure started now.
Now, there's a hug.
Yeah.
Tony Eury Jr., Dale Earnhardt Jr. Their dads grew up together. They grew up together. A hug from his uncle, Danny Earnhardt.
Yeah, valid point just made to me there. He is leading the NASCAR Busch Series race that's going to run here tomorrow. I guess he better be careful how long that party goes on, huh?
J.R. Rhodes there in a white shirt who...
And the NASCAR official saying, okay, let's get this car to victory lane, please. We got a trophy to give you. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the third, now completing the third father and son combination to win a 500. Lee Petty and Richard Petty did it. Bobby Allison and Davey Allison did it. Now Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. 29th driver to win the 500. Get that thing stuck in the grass. It's wet from all the rain we had here last night.
I think there's enough people down there to push it out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in victory lane, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. will once again climb out of his victorious Budweiser Chevrolet. In the same victory lane where 6 years ago today, his father celebrated a win in the Great American Race. The only time his dad won that race. It took his father 20 tries. Junior is here as a kid. There's Tony Eury Sr., a big hug for his other son. Now the family's here. Teresa Earnhardt. So, how long's the party gonna last?
Man, I don't know.
You got a race tomorrow, you know.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to do that, huh? Good God. I'm Daytona 500 champion. I can't believe it.
Forever, Dale, forever.
Yeah, I'm just amazed, man. It's just awesome that I couldn't believe I passed him by myself.
Tell me about it.
What's going on here?
Tell me about it, because you were thinking about it for a while.
Oh, I was trying for a damn while, but I didn't know it's going on forever. It's like a magic trick. I tried to figure out how to pass him, and I got a run on him, and made it happen somehow. I don't know. Yeah. You don't know what you're doing at that point. You're just trying your heart out, and I had a great car. Awesome car built by Tony Sr. and all the guys. I want to say to my sister, my mama back home, all my friends. Good God. I can't believe it. It's the greatest ever.
We talked during testing. You said you thought it's harder to win the Daytona 500 than to win the Nextel Cup champion.
Yeah, I ain't got to worry about that no more.
You sure don't.
Man, I tell you, it's a hard race to win. You know, it's a season in itself. That entire race is just, there's so many things going on, so much running through your mind. You know, I've seen it. been lost so many times by Dad over and over, and I was taught so many lessons by this place before I ever got behind the wheel, and God, I'm glad I ain't got to worry about it no more. Man, this is awesome.
You're only the third father-son combination to win the Daytona 500. Dale, your father won it 6 years ago today.
Yeah, I mean, he was over in the passenger side riding with me. I'm sure he was having a blast. Believe it or not, I'm real surprised. The Goodyear tire did good all day. I didn't expect our car to handle them so well, but the car drove awesome all day. It's real loose there at the end, but you know, had to be that way to be able to run good on old tires. And Tony had a great car. We kind of been such good friends, you know, and we helped each other all day. And by the way, thinking of my other teammate, Michael Watcher, I'm glad he's all right. That was a scary-looking accident, but I got a full week ahead of me. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, you're going to be a little busy for the next few days. Hey, you're leading the championship standings, too.
For the first time in my life. This is awesome.
Congratulations, Dale. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the Daytona 500 champion of 2004.